Okay guys, so this is my third video of the day, but it's probably going to be the most important one because we are going to be talking about the 8 official zombie maps for Black Ops 3 Zombies DLC 5 Zombies Chronicles. It's such a huge thing here to talk about. Obviously, you know, it's from the code, it's leaked information, it's from the new patch that just came out. Anyone can check out this code, so it's really almost 100% credible. Now, I don't want to believe it because obviously you see at the end of the title, no Mob of the Dead. What the hell is this? And you know, we're going to explain this in a second. We're going to explain these 8 maps. I'm going to go through, you know, again, the leak, what it is, how the maps are there, why the maps are there, all this insane stuff. The usual information we'll be going through here, going through what the maps exactly are. So, you know, that being said, if you can leave a like, that'd be greatly appreciated. If we can go for 500 likes, that'd be insane as well. 2 links below are to my other videos I upload today. One is actually a pretty interesting video talking about someone that played Origins Remastered early, a part of DLC 5, and he talks about some of the stuff he actually saw within Origins Remastered, an early build of it, that is. So if you want to check that video out, the link is down there in the description. And also, my first video of today, talking about the gameplay trailer reveal this Thursday, and what we're going to be seeing in the trailer, what we're going to be seeing for this reveal, and also what Easter eggs we may be seeing for the game as well, just like the storyline aspect of DLC 5. So that being said, if you can leave a like, that'd be pretty cool. And let's get started. So, link is in the description below to the official Reddit post for this thing. But again, anyone can really get into the code and just look this for yourselves. This is not some like secret insane source or secret information thing. This is really fairly public leaked information. So here are the 8 maps listed within the code of Black Ops 3 Zombies Zombie Chronicles. Okay, you have Moon, Origins, Nocturne Totem, Kino Totem, Shangri-La, Shinonuma, Verrucht, and Ascension. Okay, now a huge thing there, there's no Mob of the Dead, and in the original list we had Mob of the Dead, Call of the Dead, and those aren't there, but especially Mob of the Dead, man. And when I first saw that, I was just like, oh my god, Mob of the Dead, it's like one of the best maps they've ever made, and for that not to be remastered is just such a grueling thought to even like think about. But again, there are obvious things and reasons potentially as to why they did this, and I will go through those, but also maybe this isn't the complete list. Maybe these are just referenced within the Zombie Chronicles code, but these aren't actually the official maps. You know, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, this is very credible information. When you see stuff straight from the code itself, straight from the Black Ops 3 code, it's not fake. This is not fake information. This is not some random guy telling us the maps, you know? These are the maps listed, or at least referenced within the code. So, you know, that being said, 8 maps referenced in the code, those are presumably the 8 maps we will be seeing. Although, again, maybe we will still see Mob of the Dead. Maybe we will still see, you know, Transit or Call of the Dead or any of these crazy maps, you know? So, there's still a potential there. And again, I'll talk about those potentials. But, oh man, it does suck. But let's go through this anyway. There are a couple of things. People were saying, okay, it's going to stick with the storyline of the, you know, Richtofen crew. And it's pretty clear that, you know, none of the Transit crew were there. Like, you don't see Transit, you don't see Dire Eyes, you don't see Buried, because they didn't really involve the original sort of Black Ops 1 Origins crew. And that's why you have maps like Moon, Nocturne Totem, well, Nocturne Totem's the one exception, actually. You know, you have Moon, Shangri-La, Kieran Totem, Shinonuma, Verrucht, Ascension, all this insane stuff. Origins, obviously the Origins characters, so that makes sense. But Nocturne Totem, it's sort of just like a weird thing. People are sort of wondering, well, why is this a map even added within the game? You know, I guess it's the beginning of Zombies, it's the beginning of the storyline, but there really was no storyline, Nocturne Totem. If you really think about it, if they're really trying to do an adaptation of the storyline, there is nothing really to Nocturne Totem. It's just, it literally was this World at War game mode that they just threw in because they thought, why not? There was, you know, there was nothing to it. So, technically, it really doesn't even make sense to be a part of this. And Mob of the Dead, I feel like it would be remastered because there have been so many connections with the Blood Vials, especially. Think about the Blood Vials between the Origins characters in Black Ops 3 Zombies and Mob of the Dead. How would they not explain that stuff in Mob of the Dead? How would they not remaster the map and actually, you know, give us a storyline as to why these blood vials are being used a bit more in depth, and how they got the blood vials, and, you know, maybe going back to Mob of the Dead to return the blood vials. Like, I don't know, just there's so many connections to Mob of the Dead and these Origins characters. Just doesn't make sense to remaster, to not remaster that, but to remaster Nocturne Totem, where, you know, in reality, I guess it's the beginning of the storyline, beginning of zombies, but there's nothing to it. It just doesn't really make sense to remaster. Also, it's sort of like a cheap map. It's not really a full map, honestly. It's just a little development map that they just threw in World at War. So it's really not even a full map, which is like, it almost makes me seem like, okay, we're getting like 7.5 maps now. That's how I think of it. Obviously, Noct is a very iconic fan favorite map, but when you think about it, it's really just a small development map that they threw in World at War. I'm not trying to hate on Noct here, but think about it. Would you rather have Transit, Call of the Dead, even Die Rise, Buried? And, you know, I think people would rather have every single other map not included in this list besides Noct, you know? So, you know, that being said, who knows what the deal is there? Obviously, my theory is that this is probably going to happen. Like I've said before, if it's in the code, it's very likely to happen. But again, I think Treyarch, I don't know, man, they're a bit too smart. I don't think they wouldn't do Mob of the Dead. It just doesn't really make sense. Obviously, it's a fun map, and it's probably people's favorite maps, and it's a hugely, widely popular map. And obviously, you know, Treyarch, they can't always just go with what the fans want. Obviously, they must have with this case in DLC 5, because if we're seeing a DLC 5, obviously they listen to the fans. But, you know, I guess they can't do that all the time. The problem is, with Mob of the Dead, it also makes sense with the storyline. So it makes a bit of sense with the storyline, with the Blood Vial connection, and a bunch of other connections as well. And it also happens to be one of the most favorite maps in Black Ops in the zombies community, really. So those two factors makes it a prime map to actually remaster. So I do just find it hard to believe that we're not seeing Mob of the Dead. Again, it does make sense to follow the original maps where the original sort of Origins characters and the original Richtofen characters were. I get that, but still, Mob of the Dead is a very important map to the storyline. Putting aside, again, that's popular, very important map. So other ways in which we can see Mob of the Dead, I don't know. I mean, maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe eventually we'll see all the maps remastered. Maybe they'll do, you know, 12 remaster maps. I don't know. I mean, I doubt it, but okay. Maybe we see the next couple of maps, Mob of the Dead, Call of the Dead, Transit, and Buried, or something like that, you know? Maybe those maps are eventually going to be remastered. Obviously, if you look at this and you look at Zombies Chronicles, maybe they're going to do something else. Maybe they're going to add a lot more stuff than we even expected at this point. So I think at this point, this is a pretty solid list. We're probably going to see this, but I don't think it's too far-fetched to believe that they're going to add Mob of the Dead in some other way, or maybe this isn't the official list. Maybe the Mob of the Dead's in there, it's just a different separate side map. Maybe we'll see Mob of the Dead release later on. Maybe Black Ops 3, they're going to continue to release different content, and Mob of the Dead will be a part of this different content later on in the year. Maybe they're only starting off with these maps, and they're going to continue the next couple of months with different content, and maybe the rest of the zombie storyline. Maybe they're eventually going to remaster, you know, every single zombies map by, you know, the end of this year. Maybe they're just going through everything, and this is like the first 8 on their lineup, and then you know, I guess they'll do the last however many maps there are. There are a pretty decent amount of maps left, so I don't know. It's up in the air just to really see what happens. But again, sort of does make sense, but at the same rate, I don't know, not really. We'll see what happens though. Now, just to discuss the maps as well, because I feel like I'm not giving these maps the love they deserve. You have to think about, these maps are, like, they're solid maps. I mean, you have, obviously, Origins, probably the #1. I mean, if Mob of the Dead was a part of this list, I would probably say Mob of the Dead's #1 for me, but now that it's not there, I have to say Origins would be the #1. Origins, such a freaking insanely fun map. But going through again, Ascension, you know, Moon, Kino, even Shangri-La. These maps are pretty insane to have in this list, and just remastering it and playing it, I don't know, it's just gonna be such a cool and fun feeling. The only thing which is a bit weird, I feel like, you know, a lot of these maps, you know, we already saw within Revelations, you know? A lot of these maps we really already saw within Revelations, so that brings back to the idea to Revelations, where it's like, well, why did they even do Revelations? The argument back then was like, oh, you know, they're not going to remaster maps, so might as well put the remaster maps into Revelations, and that'll satisfy the fans. But then they're going to remaster maps anyway. So, unless, like, they had no idea they were doing DLC 5 at the time of Revelations, which I doubt it. They must have already known, there's no way. But, the Revelations could have been something different, you know? And then we could have seen, I feel like at this point, we've sort of played some of these maps in Black Ops 3 already. So, we're getting these maps for DLC 5, but we already sort of played them, you know? So, I don't know. We're gonna see how this plays out. Obviously, hopefully Thursday we get a lot more information on these specific maps. Maybe this is the list, maybe it isn't. Again, I'm still hyped. I just do think, you know, they could do things a bit differently, and we'll see what happens, man. We just have to wait and see. You know, obviously I'm jumping the gun, making these videos, talking about this stuff, and sometimes you probably just need to wait until they actually say something. But I just can't help but not say and talk and just make these videos, because there's just so much information, so much hype, so much discussion around this. It's hard not to just sit back and just wait. So like I said, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this plays out. If we do get Mob of the Dead, just thank the Lord, man. That would be such a clutch for us. But if not, I don't know. We'll just have to deal with it. So yeah, that's really it. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment below. Mob of the Dead to hopefully, you know, contact the trick gods, the COD gods, to summon Mob of the Dead for DLC 5. And hopefully it works. Who knows? Who knows? You never know. So that being said, I'll see you guys later.